from Hungary, c4 by Nihal, and you can see 13 minutes 33 seconds left. So he took 90 seconds for his first move. He was late by close to a minute. Drinks his water, looks very relaxed, and Tamas plays the move c6. So it's the Slav defense there. It seems if Nihal goes d4, let's see what Nihal's choice is. It's commendable how Nihal is calming himself down even after coming late. I think it's an important quality to learn from him. Then not to rush, to get into the zone. e3, knight f6, brings his knight out to c3. So you can see that white is playing a very similar setup to d4 opening, but without pushing his pawn. So he's delaying for d4, but now when pawn comes to g6, perhaps Nihal is a little more happy to push the pawn. This is the Schlechter variation in the Slav defense, and this is supposed to be a small risk-free edge for white. Bishop e6, but it's a very solid weapon for black as well. There are other moves in this position like bishop g4 as well. He goes bishop e6, and Nihal goes and attacks it with knight to g5. And you can see Nihal has almost the same time that he began with in the game. Bishop goes back, queen comes up, and e6 played here. And Nihal continues his development, bishop to d2. And b6 played to develop the bishop, rook c1. So although black has spent some time, the knight on g5 is not particularly great, placed in a great way. Bishop b7, and now rook fd1. So white has all the pieces nicely huddled in the center. Knight bd7, and Nihal Sarin is very focused here. He is thinking what is the way in which he can create some play here. He goes for a4 move. You can see that black has finished his development and can actually go c5, and he's very comfortably equalized out of the opening. So Nihal has got nothing much. If pawn takes pawn, he'll take with the knight. Even here, he'll take with the knight. a5 played here by Nihal. So his point is, if you take on a5, the bishop is hanging. So he takes on d4, which is logical. Pawn takes back, and now the bishop opens up here. You can see Nihal many times does not look at the board when he's calculating. h6 played, and now if knight goes back, then maybe takes, and you can blockade on the d5 square. It's possible. So what is Nihal going to do here? He has now 2 minutes more than his opponent. Takes on d5. So the point is, if you take here, I can take, check, king h7, bishop g5, and already this looks very scary with the rook swinging over. So he takes knight d5. Maybe not the best. Bishop d5 was better. The main point of knight d5 is that Nihal comes back, but there was also this intermezzo a6, which would have been quite interesting to play. But he keeps this option open. a6 is coming up nonetheless. So a6 played by Banusz here. And if we take stock of the position, it definitely feels like Nihal has this small pressure here on the queen side, but black looks to be fine. Now knight e4. That is a very interesting move because he's angling at the c5 and d6 squares here in the position. Goes rook b8, keeping up the pressure on the b file. I like how Banusz is keeping the balance here, and also I love this move by Nihal because he's looking at the d6 square. Now the queen could enter at some point, the knight could also settle in there. He takes the pawn. Is bishop takes a5 possible? I guess so. You can just take it. And Nihal is thinking a bit. Maybe he's calculating ideas like knight d6, but finally now takes on a5. And queen trade offered with queen e7. So Nihal can avoid the queen trade. It's an important decision. He can go knight c5, avoiding the queen trade, or he can do something else here. Let's see what his idea is. He takes on e7, knight takes on e7 and goes knight d6. He wants to win this bishop, and this bishop can't really move because the a6 pawn is soft. So let's say, for example, if you play bishop d5 here, then already rook could enter here. Later on, a6 pawn is weak. So maybe giving up that bishop might be prudent. So knight d5 played. And this is very strong move by Nihal. Just dominating the knight, not allowing it to come to f4. And Tamas now decides to play bishop f6. He's planning to put his bishop on e7 to kick the knight away. Knight takes b7 would be nice to get the bishop pair, but then your b2 pawn is terribly weak and you can't defend it easily. So Nihal has to kind of find a way to solve some of the tricky situation that he is in. Goes rook d2. The rook moves up. And maybe Nihal is just defending the b2 pawn there. So he goes bishop e7, brings his bishop back, and now the knight jumps in right into the center of the board. So if bishop takes d6, there is a fork here, and but there is rook f8, so it's not really lost. And on the other hand, if you take the knight, which is what Banusz has done, then d5 now defends the knight on d6. The position is still around equal, but it definitely seems like white has improved. You mustn't take here, because if you take pawn takes, somehow the queening square is covered, and you don't really want that all sorts of risks there. So bishop g5 played, very interesting move, f4, and now goes back to d8. That's a very interesting decision. He could have also even gone back directly here and played, but he wanted to provoke f4 and then go. Nihal takes, rook takes d8, and somehow that bishop maneuver definitely gave white a small edge to play for. Now the king is moving up, the knight is well positioned. Let's see, king f2. And what is Tamas going to do? He's down to 1 minute 20 seconds, so he's in under some time pressure. Rook comes to d7. And Nihal now, I think a good move for Nihal is h4, typical Nihal move, but he goes rook c5. I like the way in which he moves his pieces with so much conviction. He's actually moving to a5 to attack. King g7 played. 1 minute on the clock for Banusz. Tamas. Nihal goes rook to a5, attacking the pawn on a6. The thing is, if you take on b7, I have rook takes b7 and then b2 is falling. So for the time being, black doesn't have to worry much. Like for example, can you snatch this pawn? Take, and maybe then there's a lot of pressure here later on. So for now, Nihal avoids winning the pawn. He goes rook a3. He's just maintaining the pressure. He knows his opponent is down to 30 seconds. There's a 5-second increment per move, but maybe that's not enough here. So knight comes to b4 and Nihal brings his rook here, offering a trade. If you take, then after pawn takes and rook b2, it's going to be big trouble here. So that's the reason why he goes rook to e7. And Nihal once again puts his rook on c5. This time the bishop jumps to d5. So black's position is improving here. It's definitely improving. Nihal starts to play on the king side now with g4. Rook to a7. And very direct play. He goes even f5. Pawn takes. If he can get in the move f6, he would be doing really well, because then he would have so much more space. Played f6. Excellent move by black, fighting back here, not giving it easy to Nihal. And Nihal puts his bishop on c4. Another important move. All this tension here in the position is fine. Bishop takes bishop. Now rook takes bishop. And he takes on e5. Pawn takes on e6. And king moves up. King to f6. Knight c8. And he goes back with his rook, attacking. Look at Nihal's time. He's down to 10 seconds. He goes rook d8. Very important move. Knight d5 is the only way to equalize. He blunders. Check. And all of a sudden, if king f5, there is knight f7, king g5, there is rook g6, knight e7, king h5, king g3, and it's a mate here. So you can see Nihal already seeing the mate at the end of the line, looking so relaxed. Banusz there has very few seconds left. He knows that this is a massive blunder. He goes back because king f5 was losing. But now the other rook joins in, and look at the black pieces completely sidelined. White pieces have completely dominated the black king, and here checkmate on the board. Very